What happened in St. Catharines isn't an isolated incident.
You want to stand here and argue with me?
You can't.
The road is closed.
In Hamilton, Ontario, local police arrested 2 videographers and briefly seized their cameras at the scene of an accident. The police chief later said he considered the arrest of any member of the media something to take seriously and promised to review what happened.
A group who advocates for journalistic freedom of expression says the freelancers should have never been charged in the first place.
And just earlier this month in Winnipeg, a local photographer had his camera and memory card seized by a police officer at the scene of an arrest. Police later returned it and apologized. What rights do journalists have when doing their work? And why is there seemingly so much confusion about it? Phil Tunley is a lawyer in Toronto who's represented several media outlets, including the CBC. He's also on the board of directors of Canadian Journalists for Free Expression. So, Phil, let's start there. We've seen this scenario in St. Catharines, some others as well. What are a journalist's rights in a situation like that? Can they have their things seized?
So no is the short answer. Absent legal authority, journalists have the same rights as others to be secure, and it's a charter right, to be secure against unreasonable searches and seizures, whether that's by the police or municipal officials. So the first question is there legal authority for it? And in many of these cases, there's none. If there are charges, and police have the authority to charge and seize as an incident of arrest of a criminal suspect, that's a scenario, that's a different scenario than the one that arose recently in Niagara.
Okay, so let's flip this scenario on its head a little bit. Bill Sawchuk says, and there's no evidence to suggest otherwise, that he wasn't recording anyone. There's nothing on his computer that would suggest that he was. But it's come out that there was a blogger who was there, left a hand recorder operated because they went to the washroom. Come back, it's gone in camera, but this thing may be in there still recording. So what is someone's right then, say it's a council person, not to be recorded without their permission?
So there was a decision, as I understand it, by the regional council to exclude the public from a portion of the debate. That's legally authorized, and they can do that. The blogger, as I understand it, was out of the room when that order was made and had left his recording device on the press table. So he had a perfect right to be there. He had a perfect right to have a recorder and leave it on the press table while he was briefly out of the room. So again, the question arises, what's the right of the municipal officials in this case to actually seize a reporter's recording device, potentially explore it, find out what's on, take off the recordings and remove them? And there is no authority for that.
Does it surprise you in your experience? I mean, we're talking about public officials, we're talking about police, talking about people who engage with the media pretty regularly. Does it surprise you that there's still so much confusion about what the rules are?
I wish that it weren't the case, but the fact is we have increasing recognition in the courts that there's a zone of privacy for reporters, work product, to interview and to keep notes and to keep lists of confidential sources, and to have that zone of privacy only invaded in very, very exceptional circumstances and after, frankly, judicial due process has been observed.
But do you think people see it that way? I mean, we're talking about the invasion of privacy of a journalist, and it seems that so many people think it's the other way around, that the only privacy rights to be protected are somebody else's.
Well, journalists' job is to get at confidential information. That's why we have confidential sources and protect them legally in our system of justice. The press is there to get at what people don't want made public. So there's nothing illegitimate about a reporter trying to find out what went on in an in-camera discussion. And sometimes members of council are willing to discuss such things.
You know, we gave a couple examples of that friction, but we know that there are more, that they're happening, frankly, all the time. Do you see the trend toward kind of a recognition of a journalist's rights getting better or being eroded and more confused?
I think we've had a number of incidents lately which have focused on this issue, and I think there is an increasing awareness among public officials, the police, and I think others, that this is a problem, that the relationship that municipal councils want to have, need to have with journalists means that they have to, and other public institutions, means that they have to respect the rights of journalists as they're pretty well understood in our legal system.
Thanks for your perspective on this.
Thank you.